Okay, so we're back at it with another episode today. And today we saw Ponniyin Selvan in the theater, right? I mean, it was one of the premiere shows. We saw it together in person. It was a long time since we saw a movie together in person. And we're doing the podcast in record time, I think, like a couple hours after we saw the movie.
Yeah.
It was really great. We went with our uncle, we went with our cousin. And, this is our usual crew that we like to try to get together to go to a movie. And it happened to work out today. And yeah, so, Mani Ratnan's movie based on a novel by a famous Tamil author called Kalki. And it was written in like the 1950s. And it's a very large novel, thousands of pages long. And it's written about 9th century kings that were really there. But it's a fictional novel of kind of what happened during that time period.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of interesting experience when we were at the theater, right? Like, can you share a little bit about what you saw there and like what happened when we walked in?
Yeah, when we walked in, we saw that the Tamil audience that was going to the movie, I mean, we saw it in Telugu, but next to us was a Tamil showing, and as we were entering the theater, as we were walking into ours, we saw a bunch of Tamil people entering into their show. And they came dressed up for the event. Like, this is a big deal for them,
Right.
It almost felt like they were waiting for this movie to come out.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, since when they were kids, they were listening to these stories.
Probably.
It almost feels like, when we were kids, we come from a Telugu background, we've heard of stories like Mahabharata, Ramayana, Krishna. It feels like Tamil people had like another story that they kept telling each other.
Probably, right?
But like we didn't know anything about it. I never knew about Ponniyin Selvan until I knew this movie was coming out.
Same.
So it's almost like they had their own little like secret story that they told each other.
Yeah.
Right? And now they're like sharing it to the rest of the world.
Right.
So maybe that's part of why they're so excited. Kids came dressed up. They came dressed up. The adults came dressed up.
Yeah.
There are people wearing their gold, their jewelry.
Yeah.
It was very colorful. You would think they came for a Diwali festival or something.
Right? It gave that vibe. And when we came in, there was a lot of people. When we left the theater, there was even more people. It was
There's
like
people just waiting for the next show or after the show. After the show ended, they're just talking about it.
there was a lot. I don't think I've ever seen that many people, like Indian people, in a movie theater. Maybe Bahubali was like a time that we saw that many people. But honestly, like the people at the movie theater are probably like, "What is happening? Like,
Yeah,
what is
why
this
are they
event?"
here dressed up?
But it was a cool environment. It was a cool environment to be around. I think
I'm happy that cinema is able to bring people to the theater and like make a big event out of it.
Yeah.
Rather than just being like another Salman Khan movie or Rajinikanth movie.
By movie.
This movie felt like it's more personal than just another star movie.
Right, exactly. And I think Mani Ratnam is someone that people keep kind of close to their heart too, right? I mean, he's made movies that people like throughout the time. Like maybe not recently, right? But people like, that are older than 35 or 40 years old definitely have this love for Mani Ratnam, especially in the Tamil people.
And that Mani Ratnam Rahman combo, like we all have our favorite album, right?
Yeah.
We all have that favorite song from theirs.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I feel like there's some nostalgia going into this movie for everyone.
Exactly.
Whether it's like as basic as liking Jaya Jaya or as like more personal as like liking some song from Tiruda, right?
Yeah.
Like Rasati or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Everybody has something they like about this combination, and I mean, past few times they worked together honestly didn't work out to me. Like last few Mani Ratnam movies haven't been good. There's few Rahman albums I like Kaatruveladi I think is a good album. Chekkachivatham I think is a great album. But Mani is the one that kind of seems to not deliver in the combo. But still, there's some nostalgia to this. I mean, even like, maybe I'm going off on a tangent here, but even like Dilse, an amazing album, but not that good of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Tiruda, amazing album, not that good of a movie.
Yeah.
Seems like Rahman is the one that really brings the A game.
Yeah, he always brings the A game.
And we'll talk about what both of them did in this movie. But
Yeah.
it always felt like Rahman brings the A game.
Right. He was the saving grace. He was the one that added to the nostalgia because you could watch the video songs even if you didn't want to watch the movie. Right. He always brought you back to it over time. And yeah, I think this is a good time to, start to talk about how we felt about the movie itself. And kind of, I think this is something that Mani was excited to make for a long, long time, right? He's tried to make this for 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what did you think about his end output?
Yeah, so I think it's funny because you guys all hated it, right? And I didn't really hate it. I thought it was okay. I mean, there's movies I saw recently that I think is worse. Moonfall, for example, is like the worst movie I've seen in a long time. I mean, Liger, we talked about it last time. I think that one is worse. But I thought Ponniyin Selvan, I appreciate it because it wasn't trying to be a Bahubali. I don't think they wanted to make a Bahubali. I think they knew they had to have action scenes because it's part of the story. Like, the book might have had action scenes, so they have to have it. And they didn't spend too much time in the action scenes, and when they did, it was bad, right? I think the execution of the action scenes was bad. The acting, the choreography, it was all bad in the action scenes. And the timing of it was also a little iffy here and there. But when... It's funny because I think every time there were scenes indoors, I was like, this movie is interesting. There's interesting stuff going on when we're inside. Every time we were outside, for some reason, either it didn't look grand, it didn't look good, or all the comedy scenes were outside, like coincidentally, right? All the fight scenes were outside, except for that one that was in the tent. That was also terrible, but yeah,
that was okay for me actually. So you thought, you know, like it was trying to be more of like a story-based movie as opposed to...
It was trying to be
like,
realistic and maybe true to the subject. I haven't read the book, but
yeah.
But I appreciated it for not trying to be a typical commercial action entertainer.
Okay.
In the first half. I think towards the end it became a little CGI heavy. We can talk more about the ending as we get there, but
yeah.
In the first half I thought it was interesting up until the comedy scene came in. I thought the beginning, when the title credits came in, I thought the title song was great.
Okay.
Right? I really liked the Rahman's composition for the title song. And I thought the Ponniyin Selvan song was also really well done. And then the comedy scene came, and then you start to see like where everything started to unravel in terms of being smart about your screen selections.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally respect that opinion. I think for me, it didn't click as much as it clicked for you. I think, like, I found pretty much everything really boring, I would say, in the movie. Like, indoor scenes, outdoor scenes, I just felt like it was missing something I could actually, like, be excited about. I actually think they should have done better action sequences, because I think good action sequences are rewarding, right? Even if it just exemplifies the character and their motivation and their grit. Like, Vikram's character is this kind of, like, madman who just wants to go to war because he has a motive for just fighting, right? I mean, that's revealed in the movie, but you could have showed that in the way he was fighting. You could have used it to build the character, but even that, I just felt like here is a bland action scene that they had to do because this happens to be a war situation.
Yeah.
I never felt like, okay, why are they fighting? Like, why do I care about this fight? I never really felt that. And I thought, like, the Ponniyin Selvan song that came in, right? So I'm a big fan of like village type songs that go into the village. This one didn't hit for me. Like, I love that kind of like, let's go into the village. Hiro goes to village, enjoys village life. There was just something I couldn't really connect with it. I just feel like it didn't do the best visuals for that. The whole movie kind of felt like very rushed. Like, I know Mani shot this in 150 days, both parts of the movie. I really think like he could have benefited if he just took more shots, took better placement of shots to really like, okay, does this look good? Really look good? Like,
right, yeah.
Because the people are there, but like, it's just like, I don't know if you got the best angle on this.
Sometimes the camera seemed to shake. I don't know if you noticed, or like wobble.
Yeah.
Not even like a shake, but wobble.
Yeah.
Which is really amateurish. And a shake, I understand. Shaky cam is a technique.
Yeah, Puris loves shaky cam.
Yeah, but a wobble, that just comes off as like, what were you doing? Like,
yeah. What was
how
the
did you not
intention?
correct this? Right?
I don't understand.
So the music, I'm not a fan of the music when the album came out.
Uh-huh.
I thought only one song was kind of interesting to me. Ponniyin Selvan was not one of my favorite songs.
Okay.
I know you guys liked that song.
I like that song a lot.
But I didn't really like that song. And when I saw the picturization for it, I was like, okay, this is better than what I thought it would be.
Okay.
So it ended up working for me. Songs like Rachasa Mama. I know you guys didn't like that song.
not as, it didn't like connect with me. Like I know it was supposed to connect a certain way, but I didn't super.
I mean, in the movie itself.
Yeah.
Right. I actually thought it was nice. I mean, it doesn't look like a Sanjay Leela Bhansali movie,
No.
but again, to me, it was like they don't want to make that. So I thought. I mean, I thought it was well done. I mean, maybe that's because the movie was kind of dragging, and then a song came, and I was like, okay, this is entertaining.
I actually thought, like, again, the biggest flaw in the movie for me was the shot compositions. Like, I think we know what good shots look like. There's glimmers of good shots in this movie, like the interval sequence. There are some good shots, not the present time, but the past time shots that they show are really good in the interval block, right? And I was like, okay, they know what they're capable of doing good shots, but I just don't think the shot blocking was good, because sometimes it would just zoom out really far for a song sequence, and I'm just like, why are they taking this far away thing? It loses the spectacle actually. Like Mani was probably like, if I show the whole thing, the spectacle will be grander, right? But it looks more like
it's very
a behind the scenes drone shot or something, right? And it's like
that's such an old school way of thinking. I need to show the entire set that we built. Maybe your set isn't that good and you need to keep it close and personal.
Exactly.
Because the costumes I thought were good.
Right, the costumes were good.
I thought all the close-up shots were actually really good.
Yeah.
Especially one scene where Karthi is on the boat when he sees Trisha. Yeah. And he takes off the mask.
That was great.
I was like, the colors on his like clothes, the colors on his face.
His makeup.
I thought that was like, okay. Only few directors know how to make a shot like this. And
yeah. That was a beautiful shot.
It is.
Beautiful shot. And even that song you mentioned, I think, what is it, Ratchasamama? With the strings and everything, right? Yeah. I feel like there's such cool dynamics they could have had with like the people around, even the people that are pulling the string, right? Yeah. Those are interesting players in the game. They show them for a few seconds, but this battle between good and evil while these people are pulling them and having fun, like it could have taken us into the moment of all these people being involved in this amazing play. Yeah. Whereas we got a little bit more like kind of, okay, this is supposed to be this cool moment type of shots. A lot of long shots, right?
I agree. Like, maybe show some appreciation to the art form that they're, presenting or performing right there for the princess, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's more of like a historian. That's funny because I would assume Mani Ratnam would take that historian perspective.
Right.
And want to show these type of things. Yeah. But he didn't. He didn't seem to care.
He didn't. To me, it's like, this is the movie you've been wanting to make for like 20 years. Like this was your dream vision of it. Because I don't know. Like I felt like I thought it was just gonna be better.
Real quickly, you said he spent 150 days shooting the film.
I think so. That's what I read.
Is it just part one or both parts?
Both parts, I believe.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. When we were talking about the action scenes, 150 days is what Rajamouli spent to shoot the climax action scene in Bahubali 1.
Yeah.
Right? That's how much Mani Ratnam spent to shoot the entire film.
Yeah.
Two parts of the movie.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's like, if Bahubali Part 1, they told you the whole movie cost 200 crores, 250 crores, and they say we spent 150 days shooting the war scene, you believe it. You're like, okay, you definitely spent 250 crores.
Yes.
This, I have no idea where the money went.
I don't know where it went. Laika
is black money.
Laika black money. Honestly. And, some of the other things, the second song that came where, there's kind of this more kind of traditional dance that they're doing in front of the, the chieftains of the area, basically. I thought, what did you think about that song? Like, I want to hear your opinion on it first before I go into it.
So it came literally 3 minutes after the Ponniyin song came.
Yeah, it was very briefly.
Which is very, to me, you have to space your songs out. Right?
But there was the comedy track in the middle, which I guess was really unbearable, right? And then it came into this.
Then remove the comedy track, right?
There was also the really bad sequence of, how Karthi gets into the palace, which is like not believable at all.
Yeah.
Which
is just comedic, right? It was almost like a kid's movie.
Yeah.
Let me just get my horse through.
Yeah, let me just run my horse through like these guards. Like these guards are probably one of the worst guards.
I mean, the song, I never liked the song when I heard it.
Yeah. And
I thought the picturization, I was like, they're trying something different here.
Yeah.
I didn't think the picturization was bad. To me, it was just like, why do we have a song here? Get the movie going. Get the story going. You just delayed the conflict.
Exactly, because you put in a comedy track, you put in this comedy track for entering into the palace, and
Yeah.
you're delaying it. I feel like, what if there was like a 90-minute cut of this movie where it just cut all that stuff out? Is it a better movie? Probably is.
Yeah, more compressed, denser story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a lot of scenes that are like not even comedy, but just like action scenes that
Yeah.
I would cut off too.
Yeah, just
You don't need some of the action scenes. Like some of those
Yeah.
Vikram shots. Vikram is mostly just there for action.
he's just there for action and just like turmoil in himself. You know, like he's probably there for a total of like 20 minutes in the movie, right? It's mostly a Karthi movie, and it kind of in the second half becomes a J.M. Ravi movie, but
Yeah.
mostly it's a Karthi movie. Like,
And I'm not a big J.M. Ravi fan. Like
Really?
he can't carry a movie for me.
I don't know about that part, but I actually really liked him being cast as the
Yeah.
Ponniyin Selvan character. Like, he's the only one that looked like really believable. Like, okay, Vikram looks believable as like the mad warrior.
Yeah.
But I think, J.M. Ravi fits this kind of good-hearted king character to me.
There's a fight scene at the beach with J.M. Ravi,
Yeah.
and I was like, are they trying to make him look like Bahubali right now? Because
Yeah,
he kind of
yeah.
looks a little bit like
There's a
Prabhas
little-
in part 1.
There's a Bahubali spear move where he
Yeah.
gets two people at once. They're definitely trying to go for that vibe.
Yeah. Every time they were trying to be more than just like a royalty drama type thing.
Yeah.
It just lost me.
I
That entire last 30 minutes completely lost me.
Yeah, like the whole sequence there where they're
I mean,
having
we
a
don't
fight.
have to, we don't have to talk about the spoilers of it, but
Mhm.
the last 30 minutes is basically unbearable.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, like the sequence that happens on the boat at the end, like there are some moments of, like, okay, this is a cool moment, but it doesn't quite hit and like really deliver what you wanted it to.
So, I mean, there's so many scenes where it felt like they were building up to a payoff,
Yeah,
but they never did.
right.
So yeah, I mean, like we talked about the comedy scenes being bad, right?
Uh-huh.
There was one comedy scene at the beginning of the movie, the first comedy scene,
Right.
where it's basically which god is better, Shiva or Vishnu,
Yeah.
which is not a funny topic to me. Like I just don't relate to it.
No,
But
I think it's generally not.
It's just
Funny.
not funny, right? Which gods are? They're all Hindu gods, right?
Yeah.
And then Karthi comes in. He's like, "This is a stupid conversation you guys are having.
Right.
All gods are the same. Anyone who thinks they're different has mud in their mouth." I thought that was trying to do a payoff for saying something about how the princes, the three princes that are trying to claim the throne,
Uh-huh.
they're all the same, and we shouldn't be, us normal people shouldn't have opinion over who should do it. Like we should try to stay out of it. There's no good or bad side.
Right.
They're all the same.
Right.
But so far, nothing like that happens.
No.
That whole Pantulu character, Shiva fanboy character, like that. None of that has payoff. None
Yeah.
of that was interesting. That character is just annoying, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The comedian, Jairam. Yeah, it was like every scene that he was in, again, I was just like, okay, let's end this scene as quickly as possible, please.
Yeah, and I know you guys don't like Karthi, and I was feeling bad for him because I kind of like him. And every time he had a scene with that comedian, I was like, man, I feel bad for Karthi right now because I thought he was actually doing good, and this guy's actually ruining his scenes.
I agree. The Karthi scenes without him were actually decent. So again, I was just fine. I don't think Karthi is bad. I think in a good director's hand, he's great. Like one of my favorite movies that I recently saw in the last 5 years or 7 years is Kaidi. I love that movie. Right? And he's shown in a really gritty persona that actually really suits him. I think he also had this like cop movie, like that's kind of about hunting down some serial killers.
Yeah.
That was a good movie too. So I do like Karthi when he's in the hands of good directors. I think most other directors don't know how to like use his facial expressions to his benefit. They make him look kind of like a little bit
Goofy.
A little bit goofy, right? Which is what the character is supposed to be. So I have to give him
cunning,
some credit.
goofy guy in this.
Cunning, goofy guy that happens to be a warrior. He fits the bill
Yeah.
of the description, to be honest, right? But
and a desperate romantic too.
a desperate romantic. I guess he fits the description. Like I was thinking, okay, who else could you cast as this character? And I was like, I don't think you could cast anybody else as this character.
Yeah,
Right.
I think this is the best casting for that.
In the Tamil industry, like, you need him to be a warrior, that happens to be goofy.
Yeah.
Who could do that? Like,
I mean, I feel like Ranveer Singh in real life, kind of like
yeah,
that.
Ranveer Singh in real life, Vijay and Puli.
Vijay and Puli. I don't think after that Vijay will ever get in another like historic movie.
Yeah. Puli,
He's like,
Puli.
these costumes kind of scare me now.
Yeah, he's got PTSD from doing Puli. I mean, I would too, man. I mean, that movie is one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
You saw it?
Yeah, I've seen.
Oh, you saw Puli?
I've seen a good chunk of it. You know, this is like, after I became a Vijay fan, I was like, let me watch Puli.
Yeah.
And it's, my God.
Yeah. Some of the songs are also terrible. Yeah.
They're also terrible, right?
When that movie came, they actually marketed it as having more CGI scenes than Bahubali.
Oh, really?
That was one of the marketing tactics they used, and
Wow.
maybe they did, but like, to what use?
To what point?
Yeah.
There was a lot of CGI in the movie, actually, but that didn't help at all.
That just goes to show you don't need CGI.
You don't need CGI. And, I mean, I will say, like, Ponniyin Selvan is much better than Puli in a periodic movie. Like, it goes without saying. It goes without saying.
Yeah.
You don't even need to say it.
And it's better than some of the ones I've seen from Bollywood so
Yeah.
far. Samrat Prithviraj, the one with Arjun Kapoor made by Ashutosh Gorakhar.
Right.
Panipat was what it's called.
Panipat.
And I think this is better than Mohenjo-daro. I think we
Okay.
can safely say that. Another Ashutosh Gorakhar. Catching Strays, unfortunately, Ashutosh gives two of our favorite movies of all time.
Lagan and Swades.
But Catching Strays, another lost director.
Honestly, I mean, this guy has made so many good movies. I don't know what happened. He's just...
He made
Okay.
2 good movies, right? Yeah.
He made 2 good movies.
2
right?
like all-time great movies.
I mean, yeah. I have posters for both of those movies. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, what was your favorite sequence in the movie? Like, what was your favorite moment?
I really liked the scene with Karthi on the boat with Trisha.
Okay.
I thought the shots were really good. The one that we talked about,
Uh-huh.
the close-up, I thought that was really good. I thought the scenes with Karthi and Aishwarya were also good when they were
Okay.
inside. There's a lot of scenes when they're inside or when they're close to each other or
Uh-huh.
personal. There's no action-oriented. When it was just Karthi and another woman, I thought it was a great scene.
Okay.
When it was Karthi with another guy or any group of guys, I was like, I don't like what's going on.
Yeah.
There's something off here. But when it's Karthi with the girl, I was like, there's
Yeah.
something interesting. Those scenes were good. There was some good like chemistry there.
That's a good point. And you know probably what it is now that I'm realizing it? There is some fun to the script, right? Because the rest of the movie almost feels like a monotonous kind of stage play a little bit. Like almost to the point where it's not Karthi doing some comedy with another female character. That there's a lot of repeating of the same facts. Like, I am the rightful heir to the throne because of this. And then that character will repeat it to a bunch of people. Like a group of men.
Yeah.
And then he'll repeat it to his mom. And then he'll repeat it again, like in front of a different group of people. And then Vikram and another character will repeat the same thing that's their flaw in 2-3 scenarios. And it's like, we know what your flaw is. Please stop repeating it. Like, I'm done listening to the flaws.
Yeah.
I know your motivation on it.
Completely agree. And that scene where that prince, one of the princes, talks to his mom.
Yeah.
I actually liked that scene.
Okay.
I thought, okay, there's only few directors in India that even has the courage to shoot a scene where it's just like a guy talking to his mom, right? And it looked so raw and like authentic, and like the dialogues I thought were actually good.
Okay.
There's not, I mean, I don't know, like when you have a budget like this, I don't think directors are making scenes like that anymore.
I see what you're saying, where they would just like put a shot where they're talking to their mom for a long time without trying to make it like really grand. Like Bahubali has a lot of mom scenes, but like they're really grand and huge.
Right. This one felt real and vulnerable. There's actually a scene in Mani Ratnan's previous film, Chekka Chevatavanam,
Uh-huh.
where Simbu, this very similar story, by the way, where father's getting old and like
People want throne.
like the sons want the throne
Yeah.
and they're fighting each other. And there's a scene where Simbu's like, he's the younger brother and he's saying, he's crying in front of his mom because he feels like his mom loves the older brother more.
Uh-huh.
And he's asking her to come with him. I was like, these are really vulnerable scenes, and Rahman does great background score for that.
Yeah.
So I feel like Mani Ratnan is one of the only few directors in India that actually do scenes like that where the hero is so vulnerable in a raw state
Uh-huh.
without some like Bahubali da-na-na-na type background score
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
background.
I see what you're saying. And I think I'm glad you brought up the BGM. So compared to other Mani Ratnam BGM, like Mani Ratnam movies that are made by, Rahman BGM,
Yeah.
how would you stack this up?
Oh, wow. Headache inducing? I don't know.
Yeah, I would say this was probably like my least favorite Rahman BGM in a long time. And I just saw the BGM for Life of Muthu, the Gautam Menon movie that came out. I thought the BGM was really great. It just used the same BGM where it just like used the song's BGM the whole movie, but it was uplifting. And honestly, it was so simple, it worked. And in this movie, I think he tried to do a lot of like triumphant things. It was either like something that bothered you in the shot, or you didn't even notice it because it wasn't even noteworthy.
Or it disappointed you because it would set you up thinking something great's about to happen.
Right.
There's only one scene where I felt like something great happened, which was the interval scene with Vikram. Which we won't spoil, but like that was a great scene.
That was my favorite scene. Like, I think the present time version of Vikram that they were showing was a little bit like
Amateurish directing.
A little bit amateurish directing. I didn't understand. But the past version of Vikram that they were showing was really beautiful shot. I was hoping, what if the rest of the movie looked that good? I think it would have been an amazing movie.
Right.
Like, I want a different cut of this movie where it looks that good and the comedy is snipped out. I think it would have been amazing. I think if someone remade this movie again with a better like script and direction, it probably is going to be, if someone was like, hold on, let me do a TV web series of this movie.
Yeah.
5 or 6 episodes, right? And let me do it legitimately without the terrible comedy. I would rewatch it. I would give it another chance.
I mean, we all know who we're talking about. It's Rajamouli, right? We want to see Rajamouli make this movie.
Funny enough, Saundarya Rajnikant wanted to do that. I don't know if she's planning to anymore.
Saundarya Rajnikant wanted to make a web series of this movie?
Yeah,
I don't know. The same person who made
Kochadian.
Kochadian?
Yes, I think so.
I think we got lucky that she didn't make it.
Yeah.
And we got Mani Ratnam's film instead.
We got Mani Ratnam's film instead.
I think we're lucky in this sense.
Yeah. I think so. And Rajamouli probably would have done much better justice to this movie. We walked out of the movie thinking like Rajamouli.
Well, it's unfair because he would have gotten a bigger budget. Like that 500 crores would have been the actual budget, not the marketing budget.
Right.
He would have actually been given the money.
Right.
And I think he has much more control over, like, much more power over what actors he gets and how much time the actors give him. And Rajamouli's in this, like, very powerful position in Telugu industry where he can just be like, hey, I'm taking this actor, and he's not allowed to have his movie come out until my movie comes out.
Yeah.
And he's not allowed to go shoot for your film until he's done shooting for my film.
Right.
I don't think Mani Ratnam has that kind of sway anymore.
Yeah, I don't think he does anymore. Not with his recent movies that he's been pulling. And that's a good point. I think actors would literally be like, okay, you want me to do a 300-day shoot, Rajamouli? Let's do it.
Let's do it. Any smart actor would do that.
With this Money movie, I think people dropped in and out, actually, right? They're like, okay, I'll commit to this. Oh, let me not. Like, I think Kirti Suresh was supposed to be in this movie, but she was like, actually, I'm going to work on Annate, which I thought was interesting. The Rajnikant movie where she has to play a sister.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not the same. Kirti Suresh, if she was offered a Rajamouli movie, would be like, let me put everything aside.
Yeah.
Like...
And I feel like that's sad because Kirti Suresh would have been good in this movie.
I think so. Like, another casting what if, I don't know who this person was supposed to be. Anushka Shetty was supposed to be in this movie. But...
She could have played Aishwarya Rai's character.
She could have played Aishwarya Rai's character. But she dropped out, actually, because of actually a crazy reason. Apparently, Vairamuthu is he a lyricist, I believe?
Yeah.
He had these allegations that come out during the Me Too movement. Anushka was like, I'm not having any of that.
Is he the lyricist for the movie?
I think he might be the lyricist for this movie.
Yeah.
So
that's disappointing, right?
Yeah, I mean, she should have been in the movie if Vairamuthu wasn't, involved.
Yeah.
Which I think would have been a good turnout.
That's honorable what Anushka did.
I agree.
I'm disappointed that Rahman didn't do the same thing, but he probably feels like he owes it to Mani Ratnam.
Probably, right? Probably. I mean, a lot of people chose to be a part of this movie.
Yeah.
And in terms of like other things that I just felt were a little bit disappointing in the movie, I think, like you were saying, the outside set designs were not great. Like anytime they were on a sand-based ground, when they were riding on the horses on the sand, it looked so awkward. You could see the horses struggling to ride. Like you could see the back foot like really being in the back of the sand, like struggling to get there. or those sequences where the comedy tracks were happening and they were walking in the sand, it already slowed the pace down for an already boring scene when you saw them like walking in this desert land.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to watch, honestly.
There was some like horse comedy too.
Yeah.
That didn't work for me.
Yeah. It didn't.
Maybe that's in the book. Maybe the
Possibly.
horse is a key character in the book, horse comedy.
I think horses probably were a key character in the book, right? I think they even cut out more of this because I think Kartia has this connection with this horse that they try to show, but they didn't dive as much deep as they could. But I think there is a bond that all of them have with an animal, right? Whether it's their horses, whether it's an elephant, Jan Ravi's character whispers, right? So that's cool. Like, I actually like that element in the movie, actually, that probably was a bond with animals back then, right? Because these are the things that you're traveling with for a long time that fit your personality, right? And
definitely
they tried to show that. And I don't think other periodic movies necessarily show love to that as much as this movie tried to in some sequences.
Yeah, none that I can remember.
None that I can think of, right?
Maybe like The Witcher, like
the
TV
Witcher
show.
Yeah,
the horse is a somewhat key character.
Okay.
In the relationship between Geralt and
yeah.
And
I think in Magadira, Rajamouli tries to make the horse a key character as well.
That's true.
In one scene of the movie. I think, so, funny things in the movie for me. So this whole thing is triggered because a comet is falling, right?
Yeah.
And this comet is falling the entire movie, right? Like, because, okay, there's a kind of prophecy that if the comet is falling, the king is going to change or whatever. So there's a whole scenario where this movie is trying to figure out, okay, who's going to be the new king? Who's going to be the one to ascend? And yeah, I just thought it was funny that the comet was falling for like, this movie probably takes a span of like 3-4 months at least, if we're considering the amount of travel time.
It's a slow comet.
It's a really slow comet, and it looks very CGI and in the same place the whole
Almost
movie.
looks like a paintbrush stroke.
Yeah, it was probably the worst CGI comet I've ever seen in any movie.
Did we need the comet in the scenes?
I don't think so. It actually probably added to the comedy element of it. Like,
we just needed to be told a comet is orbiting Earth. That's all that we needed to know.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have been content if the comet already fell.
That would have been interesting.
Cool. The prophecy has started to be in movement. Like, the comet came. Because usually in movies, the comet comes and it's done. Like, I haven't seen a 4-month comet.
Yeah, usually the comet hitting is like the start of something, right?
Yeah. I don't even know if it's scientifically possible. I would love to. Neil deGrasse Tyson is watching this somewhere, and he's like, that's not possible.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I hate to get all pro Rajamouli, pro RR.
Yeah.
I want to be conscious of it.
Yeah.
But it's one of the best movies we've seen so far this year, and he seems to have figured it out. But the sword in Ponniyin Selvan, it has so much importance.
Yes.
But I feel like they didn't do enough to hype it up.
They didn't even give us a good look at it.
The concept of objects being important, having weight.
The ring.
Like, a movie that does a really good job of that is Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
All the objects they use are really important. The ring itself, the thing that Galadriel gives to Frodo, the thing that lights up.
They show the swords being made.
The swords. Yeah, swords are such a key part of the movie.
Yeah.
The armor that Frodo wears.
Yes.
Things are like given importance. In RRR, the gun is given so much importance.
Right.
The chains, like the necklace or the bracelet.
Right.
Things are given like close-up shots and like importance. Like, there are scenes where Ramcharan's just holding a gun and like looking at it.
Yeah, you're right. Those are beautiful shots.
Those are beautiful shots that they have in that movie.
Yeah.
And like things that are used, I mean, we've broken down like the chains, right? Not the chains, but the barbed wire in RR. Those are given like close-up shots. Almost like zoom in and zoom out shots.
Yeah.
Whereas like Ramcharan is actually in the background and there's a barbed wire in the foreground, and the foreground is focused and then focuses into Ramcharan in the background. It's like...
Yeah.
These are all so intentional, and like these objects are part of the story and are part of, or they're important in the story.
Right.
Ponniyin Selvan, I was like kind of hyped. I was like, there's this cool sword.
As a part of the poster.
Yeah, and I was like, give us some like horns going, some violins going, show us this sword, get us hyped.
And this sword probably, I don't think I got a close up. Vikram gives a sword to Karthi. I don't think this is much of a spoiler, right?
Yeah.
It happens in the first 15 minutes of the movie. And it's just like, okay, that's pretty much all we see of the sword until later in the movie. But we don't get a really crazy love for it. Like, in other movies, like the sword comes out of like some red powder that's like holy. And like there's an epic moment with the sword. And in this one, it's missing. And I think it could have.
Yeah, another example is just like the golden urn in Chhatrapati comes out of the beach.
Yeah.
The brother throws it into the water.
Yep.
Prabhas picks it out of the beach.
Yep.
It's given importance, right? It's given close up. There's amazing background score. This is insane what just happened.
Right.
And this object is a key part of the story.
Right.
Involve the objects. That's all I'm saying. Like, these are important tools. Like, you got the horse a little involved, but your sword is also important.
Yeah, get people to emote with what this person is going through in some way, right? In some connection you can put them in.
Yeah.
How did you think about each of the actors' performance in general?
None of them's career best, and like, if there's a movie where you should bring like one of your most memorable performances, it's one that's on a big stage like this. I feel like none of them brought it.
None of them brought it. And I don't think it's not because they... So, I think some people just didn't try, which is... I think Trisha didn't try, like, a lot. I felt in her character. She was fine, but, like... I think... Did she purposefully underperform? Or was that the character? I don't understand. She had very good expressions.
I don't know. Maybe I'm a Trisha fan. I have good memories of Trisha.
Yeah, sure.
Atharu is one of my favorite movies.
But she has a lot of emotions in that movie.
Yeah. Right? I didn't find her annoying. I didn't find Aishwarya Rai annoying.
They're great. They're not annoying at all.
No one was annoying.
Nobody was annoying.
Vikram was put in annoying situations.
Vikram was put in annoying situations. But I think Vikram probably did the best acting when he wasn't being directed terribly.
Yeah. And same with Karthi when he wasn't expected to do stupid comedy scenes.
Yeah.
But the crowd we were in seemed to like the comedy scenes. Not the ones with the Vishnu guy.
Not the one with the Vishnu guy.
The ones with Trisha, the ones with Aishwarya Rai. Those were actually good.
Those were good. People did like the jokes when he was with the female characters. And so in this movie, Karthi is kind of like a womanizer. And that's what they try to play off of in this movie, right?
Yeah.
So I agree. I haven't seen a lot of J.M. Ravi movies. I liked him as the cast in this movie as Ponniyin Selvan or future Raja Raja Chola. I thought decent choice for this movie. And I think this could have been the biggest movie in his career possibly. That's because he is the main character.
Yeah. And man, I don't want to be that guy, but J.M. Ravi does not get me excited to go to a movie.
Okay, that's fine.
I feel like, you have to pull a casting coup for this. This is the biggest, this is the most important, this is the title role.
Yeah.
Right? It can't be J.M. Ravi when you're spending 500 crores to make 2 movies.
I see.
It's gotta be, I know Mani Ratnan said he casted for the characters. I don't believe that completely. Because you don't need Aishwarya Rai. Right? You don't need Trisha.
Right.
I think J.M. Ravi was a miscasting.
I feel like done instead.
Give us just Surya, man. Just give us Surya.
Okay, I see. But I think like J.M. Ravi has a stature, right? Like the same thing with like Vikram. I mean, not that height matters, right? But like, Vikram and Surya. Vikram is like 5'7". Surya is like 5'6".
Yeah.
He doesn't have the stature that a J.M. Ravi brings into a scene, I feel. Right? Of like this guy is a big warrior.
That's fair. Then maybe you need to look outside of Tamil industry.
Yeah, possibly.
But at the same time, it's such a pure Tamil story, right? I think.
But I think Surya would have been a better actor for that whole role. I mean, you can believe in him as being a good king. Like an honorable person.
It gets us excited. J.M. Ravi means nothing to me.
Okay.
Surya, I look at Surya and I'm like, okay, this person, like, I have good experiences watching his movie.
Yeah.
And like, he just comes, J.M. Ravi's character just comes in the second half.
Right.
Right? And there's no real effort done to build him up.
Uh-huh.
So if you just put like someone recognizable and popular like Surya, it would have worked better.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, it would have been interesting to have both the brothers in the same movie at the same time too. That would have been very interesting. As like, because they both help each other too. I actually kind of like that as JM Ravi because almost like the fact that he's this king that he's a people's king and he's kind of like living out far away in Lanka just doing his thing on its own. And I kind of like that it's like JM Ravi doesn't bring a lot of good or bad baggage as an actor for me. He's just, I'm like, cool, this guy is the character of a good warrior.
That's fair.
I don't have to be hype about him. He looked like he could be a warrior possibly, you know. So
yeah,
it worked for me, at least in some of the scenes. Yeah. So I would say, I don't know, where does this rank in like your Mani Ratnan movies of all time? Like, would you say?
Wow. I mean, how many Mani Ratnan movies do I like?
Yeah, that's a good starting point, right? What's your favorite Mani Ratnan movie? Let's start there.
Favorite Mani Ratnan movie? Probably Geetanjali.
Okay.
Maybe Bombay, actually.
Okay.
Maybe Kanithu Muthu. I can't say that.
Kanithu Muthamil? Yeah.
Kanithu Muthamil. That's a good movie too.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say Bombay.
Bombay was a good one.
Yeah.
It's a really good movie, right? And you know, like I think with any classic Mani movie, even with Geetanjali, there's always like some sequence of parts you're like, okay, this can be trimmed in the modern version of it and like, it's a much better follow through. I think those are good ones. And I think Kanathe Muttam is probably like one of, like if you were to look back, it's like wow, like this movie ages well.
Yeah.
Like that probably is one of them.
The songs really age well. The acting.
The story point ages
story,
well,
yeah.
right? Like whatever the characters are going through ages well.
Might be his best. And this is nowhere near. Ponniyin Selvan is nowhere near his top 5 or... It's his bottom 5.
I would say it's bottom 5 movies for him. Easily
Yeah.
bottom 5 movies. And I think my favorite Mani Ratnan movie is Til Talapati. Like Talapati was an amazing movie. I mean, I've seen Nayagan a few times, but I didn't connect with it the same way I connect with the Talapati. And Talapati doesn't have this like purposefully bad comedy track in there.
Completely forgot about Talapati. That's probably the best.
Like it's an amazing movie. It's got Santosh Sivan doing amazing cinematography throughout it and like really good acting by all the main characters, right?
There's actually go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, I think that was it. It was just like it's a really good movie from beginning to end. You could watch it through and really enjoy it.
There's actually a film companion video where Anupama Chopra talks about why she likes it.
Wow. Anupama Chopra.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a 8-10 minute video.
Okay.
I'm impressed. Actually really good.
Okay.
She explains it really well why it's such a beautifully made movie.
And
surprising that someone like Rajinikanth would do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean
I would love Rajini to do a movie like that where he doesn't have to like purposeful, like he doesn't need to beat people up over the top. You could just be a guy that happens to know how to do some street fighting. You don't need to be like the cool guy that needs to do over the top fighting, right? So to me it is a bottom 5 Mani Ratnan movie, probably maybe even bottom 2 or 3, honestly. And you know, the one definitely bottom 2 of the ones I've seen personally.
Yeah.
And I what do you think about future Money Stock? Like, do you think he's still got it? Like, do you think he's still gonna make good movies ever again?
Ooh, because Ponniyin Selvan 2 has already been made.
Ponniyin Selvan 2 has already been made. You know the vibe. I mean, what could he do next after this that, like, gets people excited?
It's really funny because you were saying something after we saw the movie, something funny. Do you want to say it?
Well, I mean, I was saying, like, I think Mani Ratnan can pack it up and stop making movies. Because I think he's completely lost touch of what a good movie is anymore.
I think the exact words you used were, you wouldn't be sad if Mani Ratnan stopped making movies.
Yeah, I think he's done. Like, and I would be okay with that. Like, I think he's left a good legacy of movies that are good. I don't need to see him make bad movies anymore. I'm pretty good with him. Like, I get excited for them because I still think there's hope. But after watching this movie, I'm like, this guy's not a capable filmmaker anymore. He doesn't know how to make movies anymore.
Yeah.
I would rather watch a Puri Jagannath movie. Like,
really?
I would rather give Puri another chance than give Mani Ratnan another chance. Personally.
Yeah. That's because Puri can always play it safe and just make another commercial film.
Sure.
He can go low budget again.
He can go low budget again.
I don't know what Mani Ratnan does after this. Honestly, Mani Ratnan should just maybe make like a web series.
Make a web series. Maybe help people make web series. Don't make them yourself.
Yeah. And, I hate to say it, but maybe he should try to work with someone other than Rahman. Not that Rahman has lost it.
Yeah.
But maybe that combination just isn't working out anymore for them. Maybe they're getting in each other's way of creativity. Maybe they just don't understand each other anymore. It's a difficult phase for both of them, right? Like, they're struggling with the new trend. Right. Both of them, I feel like, are struggling to keep up with the new trend.
Possibly. I think the music is... Yeah, Rahman, I think... The music has gone a different way, right? People are really liking Anirudh. Or like...
They're liking remakes.
Yeah, they're liking remakes of songs. And I think Rahman is still churning out some classics every once in a while, like albums. But they're not happening as frequently as before. The directors he really likes to work with, like Mani Ratnan, are not doing good visualizations to the song that carry them forward. Thankfully, Gautam Menon in his recent movie does do good visualizations to a song. Like, that's why I love that album so much. And I'm playing it a lot because I'm like, there's some hope. Like, if the right person comes in, like, there's hope for this movie, right? So, I agree. Like, what do you think? Do you think Mani should make more movies?
Wow, that's such a tough... I kind of agree with you that if he stopped making movies, there's just enough great films that, like, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't think anyone wants to leave on a losing streak, right? And you always want to end on a high note.
A high note.
And he could just make a Netflix show or a Prime, or something, web series, something to just end on a high note and be like, okay, I left people with a good taste.
Right.
I don't think this is how we should end it.
Right.
But this could be the end to Mani Ratnam getting a big film.
Possibly, right? But it might be a good thing, honestly. I don't think he can handle... Or maybe he doesn't have the experience yet to handle the big... This is the biggest budget movie by far, right? Mm-hmm. And he's trying to learn a lot through this process. And he just happened to go for his dream movie. And, maybe not the best idea. Like, maybe he should have tried to work up to this. I think he was really just, like, itching to get this done. Right, I don't think he had competition from somebody else that was like, I also want... Maybe Saudi Rajnikant was like, I'll get it done before you.
Yeah.
But, that's another...
You can still make this show into web series. This movie into web series.
You could. I think it might be more enjoyable that way. Like,
yeah.
If you did it just better direction. Some what-if scenarios I had. Does this movie work better as, like, a 3-hour play? Like, really done well by a grand scale. Like... Imagine
like a Broadway production.
Like a Broadway production, but done. Like, let's just say it happens to be really well done.
Yeah. Do you know Aaron Sorkin?
Yeah.
What if this was an Aaron Sorkin movie? Where it's just like a complete play?
Yeah.
I kind of see what you mean. Like a Social Network or Steve Jobs type movie.
Exactly.
Where we're just in a room for like 20 minutes and then people are just talking.
Yeah, right? I mean... But you still go in and out.
You still go in and out.
You still go in and out, but like
But it feels contained.
Feels contained.
Yeah, of course. It'd be really interesting.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, West Wing episodes are more exciting than this movie.
I agree. Like, it would cut out a lot of the battle sequences, right?
Yeah.
It would cut out a lot of this. I think the thing is the script, like the novel itself, had this boat sequence where Karthi had to be saved by the boat. So like, or whatever. And there's these things they had to hit, but I really think it works good as like a theater play because you can be in the moment longer.
It doesn't have to be a big grand movie.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be a big grand movie. It could be just don't repeat things and assume the audience is really intelligent and wants to see you make cool chess move type plays during a sequence of 2-3 hours, right?
Yeah.
And that would have been cool, right? I think casting what ifs for this movie, right? So Mani Ratnan has tried to make this movie before, right? Did you hear about this? Who are the people?
I heard about this a couple of days ago.
Yeah. So the situation was Vijay was supposed to be Vikram's character.
Yep.
And the one and only Mahesh the Babu was supposed to be Ponniyin Selvan himself.
Someone that I get excited for.
Yeah.
Right.
Is this a better movie with those two as the lead? Let's say, okay, Karthi maybe remains. Karthi is cast by maybe somebody else. Let's say Ranveer Singh or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But
Maybe it's just Karthi.
maybe it's just Karthi, right? Which I think there could be someone better than Karthi for that role. I just don't know.
Honestly, it could be Vijay for that role.
I think BJ could do that role well.
Yeah.
That's the funny part, right?
Yeah, the funny thing is both Vijay and Mahesh Babu don't like to change their hairstyles much
Yeah.
or look not modern.
Right.
That's one of the things that Vijay's always kind of made fun of is he always has the same hairstyle and same look.
Yeah, even in Puli, he doesn't do the long hair.
No, he looks like he's from the 21st century in
Yeah.
every movie.
He does.
Mahesh Babu too.
Yeah,
Right?
agreed.
They never change their get up much. They
Yeah.
wouldn't do like a Pushpa, right?
They wouldn't.
Yeah. So I don't know if Vijay would be good. I feel like Mahesh could play the JM Ravi character,
Uh-huh.
but he doesn't have the body. Like if you want that stature,
Yeah.
Mahesh probably doesn't have it.
Uh-huh.
But I think more people would go watch the movie,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think so too. I think more people would want to be excited to go check this movie out if it was made by those two people. I'm glad it's not because of how it turned out by the same director. I think it would have been.
Yeah, but it's different, right? The budget would have been bigger.
The budget would have been bigger, but the thing is, like, I think this movie could have been done well if it just happened to be just done better, right? Like, I think of lower budget, periodic or fantasy type movies that I still enjoy just because the script and the taking is done well. Like, what I was thinking about was, like, Yugane Kiwakuru, this movie with Karthi. Another movie with Karthi with Chola people involved. Parthiban is actually the leader of the Chola Empire in that movie. It looks gritty. Some of it does, the CGI does look amateurish in a lot of movies, but you remember that movie, you get excited about the script. Some of the dance sequences that try to do similar things as that second song in this movie, where it's kind of like very like local to that time period.
Yeah.
They still hit better because there's some element of rawness to it. Whereas this movie, I feel like, just didn't hit me on that level. So I think there are lower budget movies that still hit emotionally. There's actually a famous Tamil director in the 1950s when this movie released. He wanted to make it, but again didn't because of budgetary reasons, or something happened where he wasn't feeling well or something, but the movie didn't get made. But I think then the cast was supposed to be like Sivaji Ganesan. Savitri was supposed to be possible in this movie too. So this movie is interesting that it has a little bit of a almost a curse of like people trying to make it for a long time. Like Kamal and Mani Ratnan tried to make it together for a long time. It didn't work, and I find it funny that the curse continues after it's made too, where it doesn't deliver. And what it's interesting. Like this, maybe we'll never see a good adaptation of this book. You know,
I think we could if the right person wanted to make it.
The right person wanted to make it.
Like people thought Dune couldn't be made.
True.
And then Denis Villeneuve clearly had the technical chops to make it.
And what an amazing movie that was.
Yeah. Memorable movie too.
Memorable movie.
And it has a huge cast, and like he manages to give them like key scenes, and even in that movie objects are important. Right. The thumper.
Super important.
Right. Things like that, like, or the blade, right?
The blade is important.
Yeah.
I
don't know, man. Maybe I'm going a little crazy on the objects, but I feel like it's...
I never thought about it, but objects are really important in these movies. They tie... A lot of them tie an emotion to a person that you care about, or a person that died in the care of Dune. Yeah. Plays a Dune, right?
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, I think they're beautiful things that subtly make you feel something. I didn't realize until you mentioned it.
Yeah, objects have that power, for sure.
What else about this movie do you want to say?
I mean, let's be honest, part 2, I'm there.
Yeah, I'll go see part 2 for sure. I mean, I have to finish the journey with this movie. I want to see where it goes. You know, probably like one of my least favorite movies I've seen this year, unfortunately, I would have to say.
Yeah.
And that's probably because I was actually kind of hoping it was going to be good. I was hoping it was going to be okay, but I got worse than what I expected, I would say.
Yeah. The exact opposite for me with Brahmastra.
Uh-huh. Exactly.
Where I thought this was going to be terrible, and I was surprised.
Yeah.
With Brahmastra, I thought it would be average, and...
You got the opposite.
I was given a big shock.
Exactly.
Maybe the shock you have now with Ponniyin Selvan.
Yeah, I would have to say, like, you know, one of my least favorite movies of the year. I kept, right after I finished it, I wanted to say, like, this was worse than Liger for me. But the reason I say worse is because like Liger's was more enjoyable and I can make fun of this movie way. This movie, like, you couldn't really make fun of it. You could only just be bored through it.
You could be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But there are scenes in this movie that I liked more than anything I saw in Liger.
Okay.
There was no redeeming quality to Liger, in my opinion.
That's a good point. There was no redeeming quality in Liger. There was actually some scenes that are like, okay. I mean, there's only one scene I can think of. Maybe you have multiple. Mine was only the interval scene. But
yeah. And honestly, I give it a higher rating than Brahmastra.
Okay.
Because Brahmastra is like one of the most insulting mishmashes of Harry Potter, Star Wars, X-Men that I've ever seen put together. Complete lack of originality in Brahmastra.
It was a mishmash of a bunch of concepts that they packaged together. Still, to me, Brahmastra was more enjoyable, but by not much, I would say.
Yeah.
Like, I was really bored during Ponniyin Selvan, I would say. I was excited for the movie to end. Like, I was like, okay, I'm glad this is... It also ends abruptly, I felt. It was like, and it's over, I felt, a little bit.
Yeah, it has that feel, and it's Rahman and Mani Ratnan do this terrible job of hyping up what we're seeing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't pay off. Like, there's a scene at the end, I won't get too spoilery, but like, they make a big deal about how the wind has stopped.
Yeah.
And you think some magical element is good. Because I don't know the story of Ponniyin Selvan.
Yeah.
As far as I know, it's like the story of the Iliad or Odyssey.
Right.
Where like, could be gods involved. Right?
Yeah.
And I thought maybe something insane was going to happen.
Uh-huh.
No, nothing insane happens.
Yeah, nothing, there's no wind that comes to help them.
I mean, like, a big storm comes, but it doesn't help them.
No, it doesn't help them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It keeps trying to create this, like, fate has been determined element to it, or higher than thou power.
Which I like those parts. That
I want those scenes.
I want those scenes too. Because now I'm remembering, my other favorite scene in the movie was when we do see this kind of, like, prophecy cave painting, right?
Yeah,
that happens at some point in that movie. I was like, this is cool. More of this.
Yeah.
We want prophecies. We want foretold stories. We want things to not go as planned from the prophecy or go as planned as the prophecy, right?
Yeah.
Like, we want that to happen. You know?
Yep, exactly.
Because then you're almost anticipating something to happen and that payoff is good, right?
Yeah.
Because you knew the climax, what was going to happen. You know how it was going to happen because of the prophecy a little bit. At least for me, it was clear what was going to be shown.
Yeah.
But it's good. The payoff is good, but they didn't show it dramatically in a way you were like, oh my God, that.
It's like, did they forget how to make a movie again? Kind of like
Yeah.
Liger. Did you forget what it takes to tell this scene?
Exactly.
It's like, there's basics, right?
There's basics. And they try to show all the characters and where they are at one point before like the movie ends. And I feel like I was just surprised that it's over. I was like, hold on. I thought there was going to be like some tremendous scene that I was going to be like, oh, like this is going to be a crescendo to this moment, right?
And I like the Ponniyin Selvan title song, as I think I mentioned that. I feel like they should have used it more.
Yeah.
And used variations of it more.
Right.
Kind of like how Lord of the Rings uses variations of the Fellowship theme, the Ring theme, throughout the entire series, right?
Yeah.
They use variations of it. Did they just not have that creativity of like... I mean, I think they made an amazing theme composition for the title.
Right.
They just didn't really use it.
Yeah, they didn't...
We got a lot of Aishwarya Rai, like, female chanting. Every time Aishwarya Rai was on screen.
Yeah, there was a lot of female chanting. There was a lot of, these cat fight scenes between Trisha and Aishwarya Rai. There was this almost rap song that was going on in the background. Did you?
There was no song, but the beats were a little...
The beats were rappy.
I liked that background.
Yeah, it was cool. It was something different. I was like, I don't know if this makes sense in these universe, but at least they're trying something.
I think they recognized, okay, we got a little cat fighty thing.
Yeah, we got a little cat fight situation going on.
But I liked those scenes. I liked actually Trisha's scenes because I thought she was saying... She had intelligent moments. Her character.
Her character was smart.
Same with Aishwarya Rai. I honestly thought the woman did way more. Now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot of scenes with the woman that I liked the most.
Like now that I'm remembering, the Trisha sequence where she like meets with all like the male chiefs.
Yeah.
Cool scene where she like uses their weakness against them right in front of them, right?
Yeah.
Which was cool. Like I was like, oh, mad tricks. That's dope. Smart move. More of those scenes would have been cool. More like Rajatantra, you know, like
Yeah.
King's Play, you know, like let's do that, right?
We need more like, you know,
Chess moves, right?
TV serial like mother-in-law versus daughter-in-law type.
Yeah, let's get those going.
Let's get those, yeah.
That, I'll eat that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, closing thoughts?
I'll see part 2.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely gonna watch it. But yeah, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
I thought the first half was actually, I was thinking to myself, might end up being pretty good. And then the second half, man, Mani just like literally brought out the worst in him. It was horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me it was a really boring movie. I think I'm curious to see where the second one goes. I mean, it's already shot, so that gives me no hope, to be honest. Because if it wasn't already shot and he had a chance to give feedback, I'd be like, okay, cool. Maybe you can make a better second movie. If it's already shot, I'm a little fearful of what's already been shot. So
yeah.
I can't even say I have hope for it, but let's see. Maybe.
But films are saved in the editing room,
Yeah.
saved by background scores.
True. They might learn something and be like, cool, we got to snip this a different way.
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe they do some reshoots. Who knows?
That'd be smart.
Movie has, both parts combined have to make close to 1,000 crores.
To make it profitable. So
Make it break even. Right?
yeah.
If the 500 is to be believed.
The founders to be believed, and then there's the marketing, the film distribution, and everything, all that stuff, right?
Both parts needs to make close to 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe Tamil people will go and like to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Vikram made like 400, right?
Yeah.
This movie just needs to make 400, 500. That's it.
That's true. And the next one has to do the same.
Yeah, that's it. That's all.
Yeah.
It just has to break a Tamil Nadu record.
Exactly.
Yeah.
By being a very mediocre movie. Let's see.
Yeah, let's see. Below mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Below mediocre. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you guys for another episode, and we'll catch you at the next one.